are you?
Good to see you guys.
How's the elbow?
Good. Elbow feels a lot better, probably better than it's felt in a couple of years at this point. So, proved to be probably the right thing to do. Tried to fight through it for a few weeks there early in training camp, and in the past, it's kind of, once you get back into it, it kind of goes away usually, and it wasn't going away this year. So ultimately, you had to make the decision of either to get it fixed and hopefully make it back for the first game, or try and ride it out. And I think we ultimately came to the conclusion that it probably was going to be something that was going to linger all season and potentially get worse. So opted to just get it cleaned out and taken care of.
How did it affect you out there?
I mean, it's just, when you're playing, I feel like it's hard. You don't really notice things as much if it's something that you usually push through. And this thing was just something that was starting to cause some issues. So, I mean, whether it's just giving out on you or pain down the nerves or whatever, and locking up. So I think after talking to everybody, the clear consensus was, let's get the loose bodies out of there. Let's just give it a nice cleanup, and feels great now.
From a conditioning standpoint, you think you'll be all good by opener?
Yeah, I mean, luckily it's an arm, not a leg, so I was able to keep running and moving around. Obviously that's not the same as football conditioning and football shape. So I was eager to see what it felt like last week when I got back out to practice, and I think I felt really, really good. Felt like I moved around throughout the whole practice really well. So I'm going to keep working it hard this week, and I feel like I'm in definitely good cardiovascular shape, and feel ready to go for Detroit.
Did you guys have kind of like a date in mind where if it's not feeling better by this point, I got to have it done, and I assume that's probably what?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much right when it happened. I think, it was bothering me for probably about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. We kind of set this date of pretty much when it got cleaned out, which is why it happened so quickly. I mean, we really made the decision to have it cleaned out, and I was on the operating table less than 24 hours later. So, we knew the time was of the essence, so we wanted to make sure that we acted quickly if we were going to do the surgery. So once that decision was made, we moved as quickly as possible, and we kind of knew 3 weeks was about as little time as possible, which would have put it, I think, after the Cleveland Browns. But I think once we knew we wanted to make the decision, maybe we actually made it a little bit earlier so that I, can be out there all this week and be ready to go.
Jason, when's the last time you played without this being an issue?
You don't notice it when it's not, if it was something like this, I probably wouldn't have played, you know what I mean? I think when it's minor enough that it doesn't affect your play and you don't notice it out on the field, that's when it's something that I think you don't have to address. But once it starts to get to the point that it's affecting your play or affecting your confidence to use your arm or whatever the ailment is, then it has to get addressed. But, my elbows click, my ankles click, I got all sorts of stuff that clicks. So I think it just is whether it's bothering you enough that, you can't do your job. And that's what this had started to get to.
I guess a better way to frame it is you said this is the best.
Just clicked right there.
Was it? In a long time. A better way to frame the question is you said it's the best the elbow's felt in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I can straighten it further than I've been able to straighten it, and probably since before I had it cleaned out 4 years ago. I think, I don't know. It happens so gradual over the course of a career. It'd be tough to say it feels better than ever since before X season, but certainly the last couple years, it probably feels about as good as the last time I had it cleaned out, which was a successful one as well.
Jason, despite the procedure, we still saw you on the field a lot, whether it be with offensive line, with Jalen. When it comes to Jalen specifically, what type of growth and progression did you see him take this offseason?
It's tough for me to say because I think, I'm not a quarterback coach. I know he spent a lot of time on mechanics and things in the offseason, but I don't know how to assess anything like that. I just think you continue to see a guy who, this is a kid that's always been confident, a young man that's always been confident in his abilities, but you continue to see that as he gets experience, as he gets more familiarity, you see that confidence grow and that decision-making grow. And I think, the ability to make decisions confidently and quickly, accelerate the skills that you have. And I think that that's what we saw through practice all off season, and I think we're going to see that all season long. So, it's the same reason. What do you prepare for? What do you practice for? Well, part of it's to get in shape, and part of it's to understand things, but really it's so you can play quickly on game day. I mean, you can utilize the full extent of your physical attributes in the game. You're not bogged down by indecision or bogged down by, being late to react. And I think that as players play more, as you game plan and practice more, you feel more confident. Decision-making happens quicker. And, I think in some ways reaction time makes bigger difference than 40 times and other things. So you can make up a lot of time by being quick to the trigger, quicker to the trigger than the other guy.
Jason, what have you 12th year, I guess, right? Do you give yourself a chance to reflect?
Yeah, all the time, yeah.
Any sort of emotions with that, or how do you feel entering?
I don't know. I think, I reflect all the time on my, guys I've played with, my time in Philadelphia, my time with the Eagles. But I don't know that it's any different than it's ever been in any other season. So I think, especially when you're out with an injury, you reflect a lot, and when you're, this is the first training camp I've ever missed. I've never ever missed this much time before a season. So that's, going into one like this, it's been unique to kind of experience what, being not playing is going to be like, right? So I've been able to, in some ways you're able to help more with other guys and really, allocate a lot of time to your teammates and things like that. But, you definitely makes you realize how much you love playing the game and how much, you're going to miss it when it's gone and how much it's going to frustrate you to not be out there, because it was frustrating this training camp. I'm not going to lie. So I think you just, my dad used to tell me, you could walk down the street right now and trip off the curb and your career could be over in a second. So enjoy every snap. So I'm going to do that this year.
Do you sense a different comfort level with Nick Sirianni going into year two, as opposed to maybe last year, when everything was brand new? And
Yeah, I mean, probably a little bit. I mean, I think that's going to happen regardless. Anytime somebody's going into a second year, familiarity with the city, the building, the team, you're going to have that level of comfort go up. But to be honest, I don't like comfort. I think comfort is a terrible place to be if you're in this league. I think you want to talk about, I know everybody expects us to be, Super Bowl champions in Philadelphia right now. And, I think that can definitely happen, but it's not going to happen being comfortable. I can guarantee you that. It's going to happen respecting your opponent's going to happen, respecting the game and understanding that if you don't go out there and work every single day, if you don't go out there and have the mindset that there are things that we need to work on and improve on every single day, you don't get to that mindset by being comfortable. So I hope he's not comfortable. I hope he's very uncomfortable.
We talked about kind of the when the expectations are high, it's kind of been the inverse of the success of this team. How do you guard against that? How do you make sure that when the expectations are high that you don't fail to live up to them?
Yeah, I mean, well, hopefully it's what I just said. Really, I think when the expectations are high, you tend to let little things go. You tend, after a win, the tape gets assessed differently. After a loss, the tape gets critical very, very much because people start feeling it. You have to improve everything when you lose. When you win, it's like, was that a bad play? And those 50-50, go a little bit by the wayside. And I think that when you're expected to do well, organizationally, player-wise, team-wise, coaching-wise, all of those little things start to be like, we'll get that fixed. Whereas when the expectation is low, it's like, we got to fix everything right now. Otherwise, we're getting fired. Otherwise, people are going to be out on the streets. So I think we got enough older guys around this building. I think we got enough, whether it's executives or coaches or players, to understand that expectations are just that. They're nothing. And we got to go out there and play, and we got to go out there and, the moment you're comfortable in this league, somebody's coming for you. You know, we got Mr. T and Rocky 3. You know, he's going to be hunting us every single week. And we haven't won nothing yet, so we're not even the champion. So we better work off.
Outside expectations aside, the good teams you've been on, the bad teams you've been on, could you tell in August?
I mean, looking back, you always notice the positive after winning seasons. And whenever you're winning, things tend to happen. Everybody's closer. Yeah, obviously, everybody's closer. You're winning football games. So everybody's in a better mood. Everybody's friends. I think, obviously looking back on teams that have been successful, we've had tremendous talent, which I think we have this year. When you look back on teams that have been successful, you have great leadership in each room, which I think so far right now it looks like we have. And then I think when you look back on years that have been successful, you stay healthy. You don't have injuries that derail you, even though we've did that before too. So I think when you have great talent combined with good leadership and good coaching, it's a pretty good recipe. I feel confident.
Jason Andre Dillard, was very committed to improving this offseason. We all saw kind of his body transformation. So I guess how bummed was it for the group to see him and the confidence moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, Andre's a great player, and he'll be back out there this year. Luckily, it's nothing too crazy, but obviously missing any time in this league is unfortunate. And, he had put himself in a really, really good position, worked his tail off, and he's a guy that's continually tried to get better each and every year. He's got amazing tools with quickness and speed and raw athleticism, and he's only gotten bigger and more powerful to combat some of the things that he's been beat on before. So, I fully anticipate Andre still having a great year this year and still being a very important part of this team when he gets back. I'm not too bummed about it because I know he'll be back out there eventually.
I imagine you knew a lot about Cam Jurgens, obviously,
Yeah.
watching his tape and stuff, but is there anything else you learned, watching him in the preseason when you were on the sidelines?
Well, you always don't know about, how somebody's going to be just personality-wise in the meeting room, what type of guy he is until they get there. I mean, we had a good idea because, Stout and his offensive line coach worked with us under Chip Kelly, and he was very much open about the type of person Cam was. And I think that, everything G said was right and everything we expected. I mean, he's far exceeded probably expectations at this point. We knew the athleticism was there. You can see that was obvious on tape. But the attention to detail, the work ethic, the drive, those are all things that you kind of have to wait and see until the guy gets there to really tell how they're going to do at the next level. And, man, that kid has such a bright future. And, I'm looking forward to continuing to see him progress and show the world who he is.
The message about avoiding comfort.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that was impromptu. Is that something you've conveyed to the players on the team?
Probably not that much, not that specifically, but I've been probably saying some semblance of that to guys or people throughout the offseason. I haven't been that direct about it, so maybe a video clip will come out and see that.
Did you watch Hard Knocks with the Lions?
I've seen clips. I'm still connected with Deuce Staley and some of the guys up there, and it certainly seems like an exciting Hard Knocks season for HBO. It's a good job for them. But I have not watched every episode or anything like that. Yeah.
I'm curious what players think of watching that.
The last time I watched Hard Knocks was probably when really watched it was when the Bengals did it, and I think I was either still in college or I was a young player in the league, and I remember they cut a fullback on camera, went into his room, and it was just such I don't think they really do it like that anymore, and I think it's a tremendous show, but I think it's not as exciting to me, I feel like, and whenever there's cameras around, you wonder if guys are being who they are, or they acting up because they want to be popular from a TV show. And I think that's one of the downfalls to having stuff like that in the building is kind of leads away from the authenticity of who people are. But it's a good show. I used to watch it, loved it. It's great for the NFL, and Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions sure seem to be a successful group for it this year. So, I mean, he said some things before that have made me want to run through a brick wall. So I imagine we're going to get a fired up Detroit Lions for week 1, so we better be ready to go.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Jason.
Jason.
Awesome, guys.